I've been kicked out of my near every bar around. I've been locked up for driving 120 through town. I've been shot at and cut with a knife, messing around with another man's wife. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Threw my boss out the window and got fired from my last job. Hot-wired a city truck and turned it over in the mayor's yard. Beat my brother-in-law half to death. Lost $20 on his football bet. But other than that, we ain't nothing, just good old boys. Good old boys, we're all the same. Ain't no way.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wade and Carter Show. I think I got all the buttons pushed today. Let me know if you can hear me so I don't have any of the issues of all the no sound. Hoping I got sound this morning. Ash is here. Brent is gone. There's the commander. Say hi, Commander. There you go. Commander's here. We got things covered this morning. Wade and Carter weather brought to you by the great folks at AT Deerlam Hayfeed and Ranch Services. I see nobody wants to tell me if they can hear me or not. So thanks for playing along, folks. Ricky King, Sabre Elkins, Scott Tomko, first one's in this morning. And Linda Christ gives me the thumbs up. So all is good on the sound. So we can move along. Wade and Carter weather brought to you with the great folks at AT Deerlam Hayfeed and Ranch Services. 62 today, a little cooler than yesterday in the morning, but still really nice morning. Grab your coffee, sit outside, listen to the show, watch the show. If you're on Magic, you got to listen. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can tune in and chime in. Don't forget to comment, and I can see all your comments. So whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, if you've got something to say, please say it. 84 degrees is the high today. Still, they say there's a slight chance of rain, but we didn't see anything yesterday. And again, it doesn't look like until Easter Sunday and early part of next week do we actually start to see any significant chance of rain, although they're not calling for any huge amounts at this point. Looks like through Tuesday, less than a quarter inch of rain most days, even though there's a chance, slight 50-50 chance at best for rain on those days. Linda Chris, good morning. Justin Glass, Stephanie Connie, Scott Snow, Marvin Mickish, Jordan Glass, Greg Garcia, Bobby Leister reminds us it is Caldo Wednesday. Get to Veracruz today to enjoy that steaming hot bowl of Caldo. Great soup. I might actually do that today. Sounds like a really good plan. Thanks, Bobby. Mark Kurtz checking in. Wade Hughes Garcia, Mark Zapeta, Judge Posey. Good morning, everybody. Scott Tomko, I see he's checking in. Micah Patton, Tammy Keeling, Monty Howard, good morning. Sherry Jacobs, Paul Ebner, good morning, Paul. Hope all is well in Yoakum this morning. So we'll start with the hockey half minute because the NHL playoffs are set. My Calgary Flames they won last night in overtime over Vegas 5-4. They were down 4-1, and I said enough with this, turn it off. And they came back to win it in overtime. They needed to win to keep their playoff hopes alive, but unfortunately Minnesota and St. Louis both won last night, and with them both winning, that pretty much dashed the Flames' remaining playoff hopes. Flames had to win their 2 remaining games. They've got one more Thursday, I think, and hope for some help with a loss by either St. Louis or Minnesota didn't happen. So I will have to find a team to cheer for this NHL playoffs, and it just might be the Dallas Stars. So Scott Tomko and I will cheer for the Stars. Funky Trey Molina checking in. Rena Scherer, good morning. And the First State Bank always does the hockey half minute as we're gearing up for playoffs. And don't forget, the Astros were winners in St. Louis last night, 2-0. Yordan Alvarez hit a bomb on a rope to center field. That kid's just so crazy good.
Thank you. I try.
You're welcome. Jenny Alvarez, good morning. So where to start? Brent might join us via a link, but Not sure yet. Apparently, according to CNN, there's a new viral trend at the airport called the airport theory, testing the old getting to the airport 2 to 3 hours before your flight. That's the beauty of flying out of Victoria. You don't have to show up at the airport 2 hours before your flight. And when you drive to Houston, Austin isn't as bad. But I think if you drive into Houston, you're there a lot of times early because you never know what kind of traffic you're going to deal with getting in and out of that airport. But apparently,
Well, and Terminal B is under construction right now,
yeah,
as you know. So you got to, everybody goes through C unless you're in international land.
and parking's
A
always a
nightmare.
nightmare anyway. And even the economy lots are filling up on the outside. So, yeah. But apparently, people are going viral and trying to see how late they can arrive at the terminal for their flights. I think around 15 minutes so far is the winner. And people are missing their flights as a result, and then they complain to the airlines. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking these are people that have more money than brains. You're spending hundreds of dollars on a flight, maybe thousands, depending on where you're going. And you want to risk missing it so you can be part of, and I'm going to assume this is older people because I haven't seen all the videos because I don't have TikTok. I'm just going by what CNN's reporting. But I'm going to assume these are older people, and this is the adult version of the Tide Pod Challenge. People with more money than brains, apparently. Or they just want to waste their money. I don't know. But I'm not going to drop several $100s on a flight somewhere and then risk missing it. And you know, in this day and age, these folks are blaming the airlines for their problems. Or TSA. In fact, we really should be blaming Al-Qaeda. Tammy Williams, good morning. Jarrett McCurgan checking in. Junior Samples, Lisa Poole. This is kind of cool, though, because we all know the price of eggs is ridiculous. Show of hands, how many people are actually going to waste a dozen eggs and color them this Easter?
Not a chance. That's like $90.
Exactly. Exactly. But what's cool is there are people there, and you can buy this at Walmart, and it's a marshmallow coloring kit.
Still $1.97.
Exactly. They haven't gone up. I'm sitting here kicking myself. Why didn't I think of this? Walmart apparently having troubles keeping these kits on the shelves. And the best part is, I would actually eat a Easter marshmallow as opposed to Easter eggs because I hate boiled eggs.
How do you cook your eggs?
Scrambled
Oh.
or an omelet.
Which is also really scrambled.
Yes, basically, yes. It's the only way. Scott Tomko says he's got eggs if you need them. His chickens are laying.
Feels like he's been holding out on us.
I think so. Joel Gomez says chickens are on strike for higher wages. But I think the marshmallow thing's ingenious. I'm mad I didn't think of something like that. Could be riding off into the millionaire sunset. But yeah, check Walmart. Apparently, these things are flying off the shelves, so you might be lucky if you don't want to waste. I don't think egg prices are as high, but the national average $6.93 a dozen. The last I checked, I think we were about $5 a dozen, somewhere in there. Unless you're buying like organic eggs or something along those lines, then it's a little bit more. But crazy. Deviled eggs. Christy Thurman with a great idea. Hide tiny marshmallows. Yeah, because you can get already those rainbow colored marshmallows, right? Just use those, and you don't even have to color them. Tiny marshmallows would be fun. I agree. Keep them busy forever. Andrew Alvarez checking in. Katrina Molina asked about a high school brawl in the high school girls softball game in Mathis. Didn't see it, but I think that's a great opportunity to jump into our next topic, because under House Bill 6, which the House gave initial approval to that bill yesterday. I don't know how these kids would be treated, but they did make some last minute amendments to that bill yesterday before moving it along and giving initial approval. But basically this repeals a couple of bills or laws that were passed in 17 and 19 that protected certain students from being and exempting them from disciplinary measures if they were, as we would like to affectionately refer to them, turds in the classroom. Because of those two laws, homeless students wouldn't have been able to be suspended, and I'm guessing maybe because they don't have anywhere to be suspended to. So you couldn't just give them out of school suspension. And pre-K through second graders could not be suspended either. And I kind of agree with that one, because I think there's hope to rehabilitate those young kids who are acting like that at that age. I think maybe they just don't know. They don't have parents that hold them accountable. Not disagreeing, Torin. Boiled eggs are nasty at any stage, soft boiled or hard boiled. Callie asked if the price of casserones is up. I think they were $1.99 when I saw them yesterday. So I don't know if I don't know if that's weird though. That seems like the same price. Interesting.
So House Bill 6, let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, I just got, squirrel. So basically last minute amendments yesterday would require, and this is what I don't get. Students who attack teachers or make terroristic threats would be required to go to disciplinary alternative education programs for at least 30 days. And I guess there's provisions in there now if some of these students have some sort of disability. But I'm thinking, if you threaten a teacher, why are we even bothering trying to educate you anymore?
Yeah, if you threaten a teacher, it seems like you ought to just go ahead and pack your stuff.
You make a terroristic threat, I'm going to come and shoot the school up. I'm going to blow up the school, whatever. You got some serious issues.
I'm not sure Biology 101 is going to solve that.
I completely agree. And as a parent, if my kid's in a class where a kid just beat up the teacher or pushed the teacher, put hands on the teacher, and knowing that in 30 days this kid could be back in the classroom, I'm not sure I want my kid in that classroom anymore. And if you find out a kid's threatened to making a terroristic threat, we know what that is. That's code for I'm going to shoot the school up, right? Because we don't have little Al Qaeda jihadists running around blowing up our schools. So we all know what that's code for, because we're too afraid. As a society, we can't just say, well, these kids are making threats to shoot the school. No, for some reason, we can't tell the exact truth. They're making terroristic threats. I don't want my kid in that classroom 30 days from now either, or in my kid's classroom. Ricky King with a good opportunity or a good suggestion. I think when kids go to alternative school, they ought to have a person there like a drill sergeant and should be strict in discipline. Criminal behavior should be prosecuted. Asked Tammy. It should be. I agree. But here's the thing, and you know, I believe in due process of law for these kids, but in most cases, the video evidence is on the internet because every kid has pulled out the cell phone they're not supposed to have in class, and they videotaped the kid beating up the teacher. Or they've seen the text messages of the kid that threatened to shoot up the school.
But we have a no cell phone use policy.
Yeah, we all know how
Right.
that goes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think 30 days in DAEP is going to fix these kids and what their problems are. Get them off the ADD meds and figure something else out for them, maybe. I don't know. Or the antidepressants. That's probably part of the problem. But I don't have enough time for that part of the show today. But so that bill's moving along.
Do you think that bill will pass, Ash?
Oh, I think it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most of the House Republicans, I think, co-signed the bill or co-authored the bill early on just to show support for it. Jeff Leach, who's the bill's author, Representative Leach, added language that would require teachers to employ classroom management techniques and prove that students are a threat before removing students from the classroom. I'm not sure how you prove that. I mean, I think in most cases it would probably be pretty obvious. But I don't know teachers that are just going to accuse a kid of being a turd in the class just to get him out of their class. I mean, I can look back on my 12 years, 13 if you include kindergarten, and I don't ever recall teachers just singling out a kid to get him out of the class. You used to have to do something pretty stupid to get detention or kicked out of a class. HR Mallory with a good point. Too many view DAEP as a vacation, so they just say and do things to get sent back there. I don't doubt it, and it's not going to get any better when this bill will allow DAEP to be taught virtually. Because anybody whose kids went through that, and fortunately mine didn't, but through COVID, but I've got enough friends whose kids had to go through that, especially in the grade schools. And I mean, I've got my opinions on online learning at the college and university level, but we won't go into those because but there are a lot of studies out there showing that kids who were forced into online learning during COVID absolutely just cratered academically. And I think if education is so important in the way to help these kids that are the behavioral problems, removing them, I think, is good for all the other students. Removing them into a place where they can hide behind a computer screen and not have to do anything. Because I'm going to generalize here. I'm going to guess most of these kids that have problems are probably bad students as well, or not your valedictorian candidates. They're probably hovering with C's and D's. They're probably not involved in sports or extracurricular activities. Probably got crappy home lives. But I'm not sure what 30 days in DAEP is going to do for these kids that are behavioral problems. Give them 30 days behind a shovel digging ditches. Bring back the remember when the county jails used to send their chain gangs out to sweep streets and that sort of stuff? Used to happen here too under T. Michael O'Connor, I believe, when he was sheriff. You see them out there in their black and white stripes. I'm not saying we got to put kids in that, but you know what? Get them out there with the VISD grounds maintenance crew.
They'd probably love the help.
I'm sure they would love the help. Give them half a day doing that, and then make them be in school for the other half a day. If they're online, they're learning at their own pace. So pick up the pace and get 8 hours worth of learning done in 4 hours, because otherwise they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs and probably checking YouTube and everything else on their phone or their laptops. Turn all those screens or tablets around so teachers can see them, so they can't hide behind them in a desk. Backs to the wall or backs to the back of the room. The teacher can look at, I mean, I don't know how they're set up, but that's what you do. Make them work. Throw them on a push mower and get them to mow the DeLeon Elementary yard.
Do you think part of this is because going to the alternative school is just, oh, I don't have to do any work? And
I agree with what HR said, because that was always, I mean, that notion has been around forever, right? I remember when we sent kids off to these schools. It's a vacation. Now the perception's never changed. And I think too often you end up with administrators there that don't care. They're riding out the ends of their career. But I think you'll accomplish two things. You'll make kids maybe appreciate education a little bit more, or hard work, or working hard. And you're going to get rid of the disruptions in the classroom, and those that want to be in the school to learn can actually learn. They're not going to be disrupted anymore. I like the bill. I think they're just making some really, I don't know. Seems to me they're just trying to appease everybody by expanding some of the language in it. Trying to make exemptions for turds because it makes everybody feel better. Scott Tomko says, make them watch The View on a loop. That would break anybody. Oh, Monica Jose, that's interesting. Daughter-in-law had an elementary school kid. Said he didn't need to get a job or be in school to get a job because he could just steal like his dad. Wow. Mark Zapata, doesn't matter what the school does, these kids return to the dysfunctional home environment that created them. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of that, but I don't think that's all of it. And that's the crazy thing, unless everybody lies, but all these kids that seem to shoot up the schools, they seem to be the kids that are bullied. Some of them have bad homes. Some of them don't seem to come from bad homes. You know, they're what we used to call social misfits. They just didn't really fit in, right? But they usually don't have any signs of this thing. They're not causing trouble in class until they decide to do what they do and shoot up a school. The chopping block, get into today. Wacky Wing Wednesday. Also, today's the last day to get your pre-cooked Easter meats. They've got smoked turkey, hams, prime rib, Wagyu beef briskets. They've got regular brisket, all at really good prices. And they've got a sale on now too. If you want to cook it yourself, you can go do that as well. Go by there, pick it up, take it home ready to heat and eat, or buy it and cook it yourself. $14.99 choice strips a pound, $14.99 boneless prime rib. And Wacky Wing Wednesday today. I can't remember which ones I had last week, but I tried 3 different kinds and they were all good. So I encourage you to get over there. I think I've had all but 2 of the flavors of wings that they have there, and they're all phenomenal. The Daytona wings are really good. They had a bourbon one that I think smoky bourbon maybe, and had a little heat to it, which was really nice. They weren't quite buffalo. If you don't like buffalo wings, but you want something a little bit hotter, they were really good. Veracruz today, it's Caldo Wednesday. Always great to have a big bowl of Stephen Caldo for lunch, and they give you so much you'll have enough for supper as well. So it can accompany the wings that you get at the chopping block. Chesnick Furniture Company, downtown Victoria. They've been there for 105 years, I'm thinking now. Started off on Main, and then they just moved around the corner. But crazy, they've been there since like the 1920s. Almost as long as almost someone else who's been around almost as long as Atzenhofer, since 1926. Chesnick had a 5-year head start on him. You can go buy a brand new Chevy, Mitsubishi. Lots of trucks on the lot right now at Atzenhofer, and not just pick 'em up trucks, but larger trucks, commercial trucks. So if you're an electrician, if you're a tradesman and you need a brand new truck for all your tools and for getting things done, Atzenhofer has you covered. Cargo vans, moving vans, they've got you there as well. Speaking of that, White Trash Services. 550-1826. Give BJ and Scott Nelson a call. You'll talk to a live person when you call. You don't get a phone tree going, push 1, push 2, push 12 for Francais.
I hate those systems where it's like, I just want to talk to the person.
And they all have the same excuse. You've been calling them for years, and their phone tree has never changed, but they always give you the, please pay attention because our phone menu has changed. No, it hasn't. None of that at White Trash Services. They can be your weekly trash pickup provider. And Paravita Wellness, get in there today and start eating healthier. You want to be keto, you want to be carnivore, you want to cut carbs, you're working out, you want to eat cleaner, you're trying to gain weight. Paravita can help you with all of that. Talk to Erica. She'll put you on the right diet plan. And not only that, just good food, really. Amanda Bloschke, there are all kinds of laws that have been put in place that don't work in reality and force districts to make decisions that aren't necessarily good for students. Yeah, but I agree in a way, but which students aren't they good for? I think we've gotten to a point where we're trying to protect. We're doing more for the turds and worrying about their feelings than the other 30 kids in that classroom. We're worried about number 31 instead of the 30. And we don't seem to care about those 30 as much because they're not the problem. They don't get any attention. They just have to face the repercussions and ramifications of the kids that act up. So we'll see. I think the bill's got good intentions. I hope it starts to solve the problems. But we will see. I think the bill, what else is the bill? Here's where we get into the weeds on these things. The current law that requires schools to send students who vape to alternative education settings would be repealed. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when we had smoking areas in high school for the kids, not just the teachers. I'm not saying we need vaping pits like we had the old smoking pits. But the problem, though, is, I mean, you don't know what these kids are vaping these days. There's a lot of THC being vaped, but you've already got something. The kid becomes visibly high, then, deal with it. That's I guess, is the problem. Let's see what else. I think the House is taking up a school finance bill today. See what happens there. Curious to see how many hundreds of millions we spend on whatever our state assessment test will look like. $388 million is what we spent in the last 4 years to administer the STAR test.
Do we think it was worth it? That's what I struggle with. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. I don't know what that breaks down to per student. I mean, I guess if you break it down that way, it may not be that much. Commander, how many public school students are in the state of Texas? Then we can kind of do the math, see how much that is per student. It seems like a lot of money right off the bat, doesn't it, though?
Sure does, Ash.
And I think that went up from the previous 4 years, which I get, but I can only imagine they'll use tariffs as an excuse this next time. You watch, if this next one will be $500 million to.
Okay, multiple websites are reporting approximately 5.5 million students.
That's $70 a kid, $71 a kid for testing. And we're right in the middle of that right now, I believe. The STAR test is going on right now, right?
That's my understanding from my wife, who told me it was.
Yeah. Ricky King says, Cody, I don't think it's worth it. The kids hate it and the teachers hate it. So it really doesn't do any good for the teachers or the kids. But I agree. But kids hate all tests. Let's be honest. School kids hate all tests. Right? I never look forward to exam day regardless.
Right.
Maybe the weekly quiz, because you were going to get 10 questions. And if you paid attention in class, you pretty much would ace it.
I'm fully aware that everyone else has discussed this many times, but one of the struggles that I have with it is it's not really standardized if not every kid in Texas takes it. And so if we're beginning to talk about the idea of I understand there's competencies that have to happen, but if you're looking at testing scores for things and not everyone's taking it, it's kind of hard to really value or put the value to it.
Yeah. Amanda Balashi says many teachers teach to the star, and it doesn't prepare students for their future. Passing the TSI, SAT, ACT. I'm not. I mean, now you've got reports that the SAT and those tests are. Remember when they complained that they were white biased?
I do remember that.
Now they're communist biased.
Is that a Canada reference?
No. I'm serious. I heard this morning that there's critics out there now who've done a deep dive into some of the SAT questions, and some of the things that you have to read are basically Bernie Sanders speeches. So I know, it's interesting. Very, very interesting. Let's see what else is going on.
Do we want to plug the thing that Woodrow Wilson talked about yesterday?
Yeah, it's coming up tonight. Yep. 5:30, the candidate forum. Great opportunity to meet the candidates for school district. One mayoral candidate. It's apparently our mayor, Dwayne Crocker, cannot be there. And you'll learn more about the city bond for renovating and rejuvenating the community center. And then this Saturday, don't forget the Crossroads Cruisers car, truck, and motorcycle show going on at Parkway Baptist Church parking lot, right there at the corner of John Stockbauer and Salem. If you want to put your car in, it's $35. Doesn't cost you a dime to go peruse all the vehicles that'll be there.
Have you ever been to that car show before?
I was there last year or the year before.
Can't remember. I was there one of the last 2 years as well. It's a pretty cool show. There's a lot of cool cars. You have no idea all these cars exist around here.
Well, the thing is, they don't all exist around here because people bring them from quite a ways. I mean, you'll see a lot of trailers in there because people will just trailer up their car and bring them. So yeah, pretty cool. But it's nice. It's really cool. Christy Thurman asked if support animals are allowed into the forum because her pup is a great judge of character. I think it's got to be a legit service animal. Yeah, sorry. City issues a venue tax, not a bond. My mistake. It is a tax. Although bonds will be used to fund some of it, right? But that's not what's on the question here. You know, my only question is, and I think this is, I get it that most of the people coming from out of town will be paying for this thing, or those that stay in the hotels will be people from out of town.
Maybe Christy could take her dogs and invite all the candidates out behind the building afterwards,
or meet them as they come in. Yeah, that would be the case.
Just because you can't go in doesn't mean you can't make it happen.
Exactly. Whichever one your dog growls at, that's the one you don't vote for, or maybe you do. I don't know.
You heard it. You heard it on the Bill Posey show first. Bring your dogs.
But yeah, exactly. Blame Bill for that one.
He's probably listening as well.
No, he's probably having breakfast already. He's at Ramsey's eating breakfast. But I disagree with the notion that visitors will be paying for this via the rental car tax.
I don't think we rent that many cars to out of town people here.
No.
I just don't think our market's big enough.
No. And knowing some folks that have worked at Enterprise, like 99% of their business is all insurance claims.
Right.
And wrecks. People getting their cars fixed. So yeah. That one's going to hit hit the local folks in the pocketbook more so than the hotel motel tax. But do I think it will add to the quality of life in Victoria? Absolutely. I it's interesting to peruse social media and see some of the complaints from those close to our law enforcement and fire department. So I don't know how to fix that one. We got to pay them more, folks.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the notion it's an investment in the community. But I don't know that I don't know that it's the I don't know that it's as a big a priority, and something's gonna happen here, and then we're gonna be. I mean, I heard
Then we're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna have to, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they you know, I've heard, and I think Ricky King's probably closer to this than me, but I've heard firefighters are having to work overtime now. They used to be able to choose. Now they're forced to.
Having because they need the money or because there's not enough of
It's
them?
not enough of them.
Gotcha.
Patrick Strauss says, how about some baseball? Well, we talked baseball the other day. Earlier, we started off the show talking about the Astros. So
it's not always about Patrick Strauss.
I know.
My car is going to be keyed when I go outside.
Too early in the year to talk baseball. That seriously. Astros are still trying to figure it out as far as I'm concerned. We'll see if they can. Hunter Brown had a good start yesterday. That was encouraging.
Well, so for the three of us that like hockey, do you have a prediction on who's going to be the winner at the end of all this?
You know, I don't. I think Dallas has a really good start or chance. You know, they've got the goaltending. I think it'll depend if their scoring can stay where it needs to be. I think Colorado's always a good choice. Edmonton has lots of horsepower, whether or not they get the goaltending. Toronto seems to always choke. I don't think they make a splash. Washington has played really well. The team that surprises that I think could surprise and make a run like they did in 2017 is St. Louis.
Yeah.
They were out of it until they went on a 12-game winning streak, and now they're in the playoffs and they're playing really good hockey. So,
Gotcha.
It'd
be nice if Dallas could bring it home, but I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, Winnipeg is probably the forerunner right now. They won the President's Cup with the best record in the regular season, but they tend to overwork their goaltender, who's the best goalie in the league, Connor Hellebuck, but he seems to be worn out every time the playoffs show up, and so we'll see. I don't know if this year. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite this year. I think it could be interesting. Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with Tammy Keeling here. TEA defends the system they design and profit from. I agree. I believe there's some problems there. I was going to say, there's not enough knowledgeable people at TEA that they can't save us $388 million and develop our own state assessment test. That's the crazy thing. I remember a time when these things were developed in-house. We didn't spend $388 million for somebody to do these things. And I don't know why. FDA approving the first clinical trial to test whether gene-edited pig livers can temporarily support people with sudden liver failure who are ineligible for human liver transplants. This process would allow patients to be connected to an external device that filters their blood through a pig liver for 72 hours. And the researchers are saying this would give the people enough time for their own liver to recover and hopefully regenerate. I think it's interesting.
Says roughly 35,000 patients are hospitalized each year in the U.S. for acute on chronic liver failure.
Yeah. 20 people are going to be enrolled in this first round of trial testing between the ages of 10 and 70. So apparently it doesn't discriminate based on age.
Did you know that there's a brain disorder caused by reduced liver function?
Did not know that.
I did not either. That's actually kind of scary and cool. Makes you think twice about that next Coors.
Oh, let's see what else is happening. Speaking of baseball, Dodger Stadium going to be tapped as the baseball venue for the 2028 Olympics. Summer Games baseball are going to return to the Olympics only because they're bringing the Olympics going to be in the U.S. Listen to what businesses are doing to try to avoid tariffs. Apple airlifted iPhones, $2 billion worth of iPhones from India last month. China has reportedly ordered its airlines to stop accepting deliveries of Boeing jets. So they've paid for the jets. They just won't be able to deliver them now. How do you tariff something you've already paid for? That I don't quite get, but
Right.
we'll
right.
figure. That's above my pay grade. Connor Land checking in. Good morning, sir. Better Strauss says, Cody, he would never key your car. He's not a Democrat.
Oh, good.
And you don't drive a Tesla.
both
so you're
both
safe.
of those are
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. No. Was it just Arkansas? Christy Thurman asking about Arkansas banning certain food. I saw a headline yesterday, and I wasn't sure if maybe it was Arkansas or not. Cody might know, but where, and maybe it was state specific, and maybe it was Arkansas, where Pepsi and Coke products, soda products will not be allowed under food stamps. Was that just in Arkansas or was that elsewhere? Do we know? I don't see any. I mean, there's no nutritional value in these things. I mean, if the goal is to feed people so that they don't starve to death or that they're not hungry, anything that, and boxed cereal shouldn't be allowed either, or very limited purchases of.
So it says Arkansas became the first state yesterday to submit a waiver to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, asking for permission to change its SNAP program, which is food stamps, to ban soda and candy. Separately, Indiana and Idaho also announced their intentions to seek similar waivers. Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, which is Mike Huckabee's daughter, who's now the governor of Arkansas, 1/3 of our state has diabetes or is pre-diabetic. The current system actively encourages and subsidizes unhealthy, highly processed, and addictive products.
Yeah, I mean, you think, I mean, just looking at it, there seems to be a link between the rise in diabetes and pre-diabetes to the use of, or increasing use of, high fructose corn syrup as a sweetener. You think there's any chance that'll ever be looked at? You think they'll pay for a study for that one?
Nope.
And our government won't either, because the lobbyists for these industries are too powerful and give too much money to our elected officials.
Don't say it's true, Ash. However, I have heard, still having parents in Arkansas, that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is doing a lot of great things for that state. And if this is what they need to make people healthy in Arkansas, then that's why we live in Texas.
You think it's going to make people healthy, or you think they're just going to go to loading up their Kool-Aid with twice as much sugar as it calls for?
After I was standing in an HEB a couple months ago and watched somebody buy lotto tickets with their SNAP card, I have no idea what that program is supposed to do or not do.
I didn't know you could do that.
I don't know if you're supposed to be able to do that, but that person had figured out that they could. So,
have you ever made Kool-Aid like by the directions to the T?
I didn't know there were directions.
Well, I mean, as far as the amount of sugar.
You don't just use the whole can,
Well, I think you almost have to give it any
right?
sort
To
of
get
flavor.
it to taste
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's my point. If you make it to the package directions, it's not very. It's like drinking water with a color in it. Dollar Floor Store. They are your floor trader. Stop on by today on North Navarro. Yeah, for anything, they're going to save you a bunch of money. It's springtime. A lot of people renovating, freshening up their house. If you're going to redo your floor, don't do it until you talk to the folks at the Dollar Floor Store, especially if you do it yourselfer. They will save you a bunch of money.
Do they carry all the tools and stuff as well to put the flooring in?
I know they carry grout
Okay.
if you're tiling.
Yeah.
I know they carry adhesives. I would think they probably got that stuff there too. I don't remember. I've only been in there one time. I'm not in the market for flooring, but I didn't look for the tools. But I would bet you they probably got all the accessories you need as well.
There you go. Full service.
Yeah, they're great people. Go see Tamara. She's awesome. Alan's Wrecker Service. Give Alan a call for all your wrecker needs. Hopefully you don't need them, but when you do, they're there and they're awesome.
We were driving out towards San Antonio Saturday, and here comes an Allen Wreckers truck just scrolling on by, and I'm like, how far do y'all go? I think they go everywhere.
They will go. Well, they've got people stationed in Refugio. They've got people stationed in Gonzales, Cuero, all throughout the Crossroads area. So yeah, they're all around.
So it's not just the one hub between here and Edna.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they're all through the region. They got a yard down in Refugio. They'll get it done for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We talked about Went services. I don't think we talked about Went
We
yet.
did
For all
not.
your electrical needs. It's almost generator season, folks. You want to get ahead of the hurricane season on June 1. We haven't talked about that yet, but I think they're predicting a busier than usual. We'll save that for when Brent gets back. But Went can provide you a whole home backup generator. Generac, they are a preferred Generac dealer. They get you the best prices on the Generac, but they've got all sorts. I think they carry like 11 different brands of generators or something like that.
One of the
It's crazy
things
numbers
that I love about them that we've talked about on the show is that it's turnkey. I don't have time to go find a plumber, an electrician, and
because you need a plumber. If you're hooked,
right.
This thing's gas.
Yeah.
Whether natural gas or propane, they're the one you've got to have a plumber make that connection, and they've got plumbers on staff.
And I'm sure my house doesn't have all the right connections into the wall already. And
yeah, no, they'll do all that for you.
that's awesome.
And they test themselves every month, so you know if they're working. Just great stuff. USA Concrete Coating for all your concrete coating needs, pool decks. I mean, it's that time of year. It's been warm enough. People are out there. Sitting by the pool already, and you've got a deck around your pool. It's not looking so good. Give the guys at USA Concrete Coatings a call. Give Charlie Garcia and his gang a call.
Can they come in and do it after the fact, after the pool's in?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just the initial one.
No.
If you want to redo it,
You want
10
to redo,
years later.
Yeah, no, they'll redo all that for you.
That's awesome.
Yep. And garage floors, shop floors, craft rooms in your house. You're tired of vacuuming up the little pieces of stuff from your scrapbooking. They can do that for you as well. Peter Rinaldi says people need to be responsible for what they eat and drink. It's not the state, but you know what? I think if the state's paying for it, I think the state has a right to say what you can and can't buy. And if governments aren't going to admit that, you know, the FDA isn't going to admit that all these additives that we've allowed into our food, that they've allowed into our food to be used in our food, are the problem. So this is the back way around. This is the workaround for this. We're just not going to allow you to buy these things anymore.
I feel like there's going to be ways to get around some of this stuff in these states, as far as, you know, kids peddling candy bars at school, or, hey man,
but they're not going to. I mean, they're not going to have a square with them to use your Snap card.
You don't even have to have the square anymore. You can just literally tap on the phone now.
Really?
Yep. It's all new.
Wow.
I bet they can do it. I remember kids peddling like gum and stuff when I was in school. Did you hear about the yellow Cokes that are coming out for Passover and Holy Week?
I have not. Is this like Crystal Pepsi?
So it's a limited run. Apparently they do this every year. I've never heard of this before this year, where the yellow lids are made with the same sugar they use in the Mexican Coke instead of the high fructose corn syrup.
Really?
And so if you can find one, apparently it's pretty limited edition.
I had not heard of this.
I know. This is the useless info I can bring to the
I
show.
really appreciate that. Let's talk immigration for a little bit, because the left is so worried about one El Salvadorian immigrant. And I'll agree. If this guy was wrongly deported, need to bring him back. But there's enough out there that says this guy is an MS-13, and I know the mainstream media and Snopes, but nobody believes Snopes anymore, are going to tell you he's not. The Trump administration insists that he is. El Salvador's president isn't giving this guy back, which is interesting enough. That they're not going to help bring this guy back to the United States.
They're just givers. That's all there
That's
is
all
to it.
there, yeah. But does anybody, this is the whole point of a citizenship process, because now they're up in arms over this kid from Colombia. Why is everything happening at Colombia? How did Colombia is it because there's so much heat on Harvard right now that Colombia's got to be the place to protest everything? So this student from Colombia was arrested before going in for his citizenship. I'd like to know how this guy got citizenship so quickly. But apparently he was arrested going into a citizenship interview. You got to be careful how you say that one. Well, originally he was here illegally, Torrin, and apparently in 2019 was granted protected status. Because of fear of gang violence against him in El Salvador. There's only two ways the gangs are going to come after you. You're either a law-abiding citizen who is anti-gang and working against the gangs, or you're part of a rival gang.
Right.
Right? I've heard nothing that this guy is an anti-MS-13 El Salvadorian anti-gang advocate. Nothing.
Maybe he secretly works for another division of some other country.
Maybe so. Tammy, the issues about due process. Funny thing is with immigration, there's no due process. They don't need, they can deny you for any reason, Tammy. And they don't even have to tell you why. If you're trying to get into this country and you run into a border agent who's having a bad day, he can tell you no. They don't need to give you a reason. That's just the way it is at our borders and with border security. Same in any other country. But this Colombia guy apparently, and the left is getting all bent out of shape. Oh, this guy's just a law-abiding. No. Lots of videos surfacing. Lots of videos surfacing of him calling for death to Jews. Harassing Jewish students on Colombia property. Not the type of person we want to be a citizen here. Don't give me any of this free speech talk. You're wishing harm on people? I got a problem with this one. None at all. No problem with this one at all. I've lived through the immigration process. I've lived through the citizenship process. I know what it's about. I did what I had to do. I did everything they asked me to do. I didn't do anything in that process that was going to jeopardize my citizenship. These idiots don't get it. And they think they deserve a second, third, fourth, fifth, eighth, ninth, millionth chance. Get the hell out of here. And this administration is finally telling them, get the hell out of here with that crap. And good on them. I don't have sympathy for these folks. How do they all have lawyers so quickly? This guy gets arrested and he's got a lawyer in a minute? Come on. Why do you lawyer up? Because you're a bad a-hole. That's why. Probably funded by Hamas, to be honest. He's probably here as an operative of Hamas, wreaking havoc on Columbia University. You watch. They'll somewhere along the way, this guy that they pulled right before his citizenship, he'll have ties to Hamas. You watch and wait and see. And the left keeps characterizing these things as pro-democracy, pro-Palestinian. They're not. They're anti-Jewish and they're pro-Hamas. That's what they are.
Should we let them go for the day?
Yeah.
School's out.
School's out for the day. Appreciate you joining us. Brent will be back tomorrow. Thanks for indulging me. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, folks.
Well, I'm kicked out of my near every ball.